You guys want to introduce yourselves?
I am Justin Benson. I'm one of the filmmakers of The Endless.
I'm Aaron Moorhead. I'm one of the other filmmakers of The Endless.
I'm Jimmy LaValle. I did the score to The Endless, and I also make music under the album Leaf.
Let's talk about Flying Lotus. Do you want to grab that You're Dead?
Yeah.
I can't really chime in on the Flying Lotus combo.
Okay.
It's time for Aaron and Justin to open their mouths.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa, how's that for a gatefold?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's cool. That's beauty. You got that on the inside.
That's like it's like the opposite. Like they're
Yeah.
both busy and chaotic, but just
Yeah.
so different.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, you know, Flylo himself is obviously a huge fan of horror films and that kind of a thing, but is also extremely avant-garde. And, you know, I think that's one of the biggest reasons that he and I both really like his music is just he doesn't seem to really... He makes music that doesn't even sound like he necessarily is inspired by anything in particular. There's not really a lot of homage or anything like that in there. And
he's inspired by his own talent. He's like, yeah, I did this. Yeah.
It's. I think we identify. It's another reason why I feel like why we love Jimmy so much too. It's just in any art form, not leaning so hard into nostalgia, and actually, I mean, we're all inspired by things, and there's no avoiding that you've heard and seen things that are going to influence you, but that you're not trying to directly reference them all the time, and you're trying to do your own thing and progress at it. And that's what we feel about Flylo's music and Jimmy's scores too, where Jimmy's scores are just like, oh, he's not trying to be John Williams. He's got a vision for what he wants it to be, and it's very much uniquely him.
also, this kind of looks a little bit like our poster. This hole right here, if you look up the Endless poster.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So there's that, you know?
Okay.
But also the tie of
The kind of...
circles.
Yeah, oh yeah, the circles and kind of the metaphysical look of it. So really it's just this picture that we like about it. But
We had our I think it's our Spanish premiere.
Circle too.
Yeah.
Yeah, our Spanish.
I see a
premiere.
trend. Another circle.
Another circle, more circles. We had our Spanish premiere of The Endless at Sitges this year, and Flylo had his movie Cuso playing at the same time. So we were all there, and we got to hang out with him for a night or two. And
That's awesome.
And I remember he's just like this. He's so wise. He's everything he says to you,
Sage.
is like things you can. I don't want to say it because I feel like I'd be giving up secret knowledge, but yeah.
No one's listening. It's fine. Just tell me.
yeah.
Nice, super nice dude.
Yeah, I feel like if we're ever just like, oh, we kind of want to, you know, we have this interesting idea, something like that we're thinking about, and he'd be like, you should do that. And I'd be like, I know we should do that. That is absolutely the case. We should do that. You know?
Are you guys familiar with Captain Murphy?
I'm not.
No.
Captain Murphy is Flylo's rap alter ego.
Oh, no way.
He literally has an album called Duality where he raps over his own psychedelic beats, and it's amazing. He's like a terrific MC, like way better than you think he would. Like you think it'd be a novelty, like oh he makes cool beats and like he just wants to rap, but like he's just as good, which is a testament to his talent. But
that's cool. That
record is full of samples. I have no idea how they pressed it, but it got pressed once to vinyl and then sold out like immediately, and it goes for like $300 now. And like it'll never get a repress because it just all those samples squeak through somehow. But I highly recommend it. It's called Duality, and it's just very good. We're talking about hip hop now, so this is a perfect segue into Run the Jewels 2.
Yes.
Which I was telling you before we shot this, I have too many records that I forgot I had that signed by Killer Mike and LP, and I'm trying to remember if I got it signed from them or if I bought it signed. I don't remember, but there it is. Their signatures.
Yeah,
I have not heard that record.
I
haven't heard Run the Jewels, actually.
Really?
This is literally
You're a hip-hop
one of the
fan.
best.
I am a hip hop fan, but it's just kind of like, but I'm not much of modern.
This blends the feeling of golden age hip hop with modern production.
I don't dislike it. I don't have an opinion really because it's not like
you would love it based on what you said about you don't like modern, but like you like hip hop. This is the answer to that for a modern generation.
I had this trajectory of music in my life where it was like most people, your parents turn you on to like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Police, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Great music, and they turn you on to that.
Three Dog Night.
They didn't give me that.
I didn't get $3.
But then you grow up and you get into high school and you become adolescent. When I did that, it was like, I'd be listening to like stuff that was on like Epitaph Records, like Bad Religion and all
Like
their
Millencolin?
stuff, like Millencolin, Propaganda,
Pennywise.
stuff like that. And then simultaneously, I started getting interested in like indie rap stuff, and that's when I became familiar with LP. And then he started that record label on Definitive Jux that had a lot of that sort of like legendary indie rap stuff on it.
Including his own stuff. I mean, Fantastic Damage.
Amazing.
I'll Sleep When You're Dead.
And then after all that, he got together with Killer Mike and he did this stuff. And this is the second. Well, it's actually the third album they did together, but it's the second one under the name Run the Jewels. Because he actually produced Killer Mike's album with Big Beast on it.
My understanding too is that like LP was making records forever.
Well, he was in Company
and
Flow.
didn't really do anything. And I wasn't like didn't experience the level of success.
No, he didn't at all.
All of a sudden, like boom.
I used to go to LP shows.
That's awesome.
I used to
go
so
jealous.
Well, it was interesting. I mean, he was still considered pretty successful within pop culture, but it wasn't long ago you could go see LP in not that big of a bar with like 50 people there.
Right.
And
that's my understanding.
But not to say, I mean, he wasn't considered. It wasn't like they were like, oh yeah, that guy's a burn. Nothing like that. He was always like a really respected and gets great reviews on Pitchfork. But kind of like art house rap.
He was known as like an amazing producer who happened to make good albums.
Yeah. And then the first album of this happened, and then this album came out, and this is what propelled.
This
is like one of the greatest rap albums of all time.
Well, I remember because we'd just been talking about it a little bit because during a short film we made, Big Beast was a big part of a segment of it. We actually got it licensed, everything all the way through, and then it was a posse cut, and so T.I. we didn't know if he owned the rights or not, and he just couldn't give them to us. And so we had to go through like 4 rappers, so LP, Killer Mike, everybody. And everybody went through it and was like, gave us the thumbs up. We didn't get to use it, but this was before you Run the Jewels. And so we actually got like they watched our movie and then became Run the Jewels. So.
And he was so kind and so accessible. And it was just like, you guys, I think that sounds great. And then
they made one of the best albums of the year 3 times in a row. So, pretty cool.
It's crazy. I remember when Run the Jewels 1 came out, and I was like, I've always been a really big hip hop fan. It's one of my like primary genres that I've been into. And Run the Jewels 1 came out, and I heard about it a little late. It was well before 2, but it was out and had some legs for a couple months. And someone was like, "Have you heard Run the Jewels?" And I was like, "I haven't heard of Run the Jewels." And I remember he was like, "It's a free download. Listen to it." And I was like, "Okay." So I listened.
Wait, they just released it? I didn't know.
Yeah.
That. Oh, that's cool.
I think all of their albums have been for free. And then they just make boatloads off of merch. Yeah. They make more merch than any
That's right. I remember they dropped Run the Jewels 2, and I remember thinking, why is it free?
Yeah. And I heard it, and I just remember from the first to the last track, I was just like, no one's making music like this in hip hop. This is so different than everything out right now. And then they dropped this, which was what they did on the first album, but way better. Mm-hmm. And the first album was like almost perfect. And they have so many good features on this, like Travis Barker drums on one of the tracks. Zach De La Rocha, he has one of the best verses on the album. When I saw Run the Jewels, I think it was in LA, he came out for his verse, and the whole audience just like exploded.
I was at that show.
Yeah.
It was all the guest appearances.
All the guests showed up, but I didn't think Zach would. I was like, everyone's gonna show up, but Zach's not gonna be here.
Yeah.
And the audience, the crowd just lost their mind. I mean, it's some of his lines on there are so clever. My favorite is, "I'm miles ahead of you, you can sip my bitch's brew." And I'm just like, most people are not going to even understand what he's saying. But like, anyone that appreciates music would be like, what a reference and rhyme. Run the Jewels 1, 2, 3, amazing. I think you should check it out ASAP. I think you'll love it. So the last artist I want to talk about is nothing like hip hop. It's right behind you if you want to get that monstrosity. This is a band I'm sure.
A tome.
It literally is a tome.
I am also a Radiohead nerd and buy all of their first. Yeah.
You have the disc box for In Rainbows?
Yes.
That is probably the best sounding record in my collection. It's night and day from the other vinyl release and the CD.
Yeah.
Because I think it's 45 RPM.
It is.
And it just sounds. There's nothing that sounds like it. It's one of my favorite albums. What's your favorite Radiohead album? That's an impossible question for Radiohead.
I actually, you know what's funny is that like, I'm actually a big fan of King of Limbs.
I love King of Limbs too, but wow, I would not expect. I did feel like King of Limbs was almost too short though. I remember finishing it and being like, That's it.
Yeah.
Like I loved it. I was like, I wanted more.
Yeah.
But at this point,
is also eight songs.
yeah, it's definitely longer though. It's definitely like,
Yeah, a
like
little
this
bit.
is probably closer to an hour or 50 something minutes maybe.
I don't even think of it as
No?
that long, is it?
Because I think King of Limbs was like 35
It's like
minutes or
35 or
something,
something,
and
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
felt like an EP even though it was a full album worth of
Yeah.
material.
I'm not sure how long that one, but I know that I think it is 8 songs again.
And the art,
I mean,
I
it's
love
just
the
beautiful.
art for this album. It's just like this like
I mean, I wish I could
incredible.
release a record like this every single time. It's you know,
yeah,
do it.
man. I just what
That everything about that album looks like it costs like $1 billion.
That
Yeah.
too.
from the packaging you mean?
Yeah, just it looks like
It costs
looks
like
a
$1
very
billion. I
expensive
don't remember how much it
grimoire.
was. Do you remember? It was like maybe like $80, $90.
I think it was $100.
$100
Ish.
Wow.
Yeah, around there.
But it came with the CD. It came with
Uh-huh.
the 2 records. Which, you know what? Compared to the way they did in Rainbows, I was a little bummed because this was the same discs as in the standard release. They weren't 45
Oh.
RPM. They weren't cut differently. It was just
Yeah.
in this really badass packaging.
I actually haven't even. I must admit that I haven't even played it. I kept it.
Yeah.
And just wanted it to be its own thing.
It's an art piece. I mean, that's really. I mean, you get this art. It's just so beautiful. And you know the legacy of Burn the Witch? Are you familiar with that whole saga?
No, what do you mean?
So Burn the Witch, my roommate in college got me into Radiohead. I wasn't a big fan until him, and he was always talking about this thing where they were teasing this song since I believe the Kid A era called Burn the Witch, where they would be at a live show and they'd be like, "You guys want to hear Burn the Witch?" And then they'd be like, "Yeah!" And they'd play like 4 chords, and then they'd be like, "You're not ready for Burn the Witch," and they move on.
Really?
And they'd be doing
That is
this.
the most pretentious crap I've ever heard, but I love Burn the Witch.
Yeah, no, but-
it's my
but
favorite
it-
song.
but
It's my favorite Radiohead song.
But
really
it
is.
wasn't the version that ended up being on this album by any
Yeah.
means. It was just I think a joke.
Oh,
between the
okay.
band.
Everybody knew it was a
Gotcha.
joke. Okay.
Well, the fans were there was a website. It doesn't exist anymore, I don't think, but it was like stringing together all the mentions of it in the history of Radiohead's
That's
career.
great.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wow.
I remember like they played like maybe like 20 seconds of Burn the Witch at one point, and like they were on the Hail to the Thief album cover it says Burn the Witch on one of the things, and it was just like this ongoing like mystery. So I remember when they released the single for Burn the Witch, it like fried the brains of Radiohead fans. They were like, "It's here, I can't
Yeah, when
process
they press
this."
play,
I
they're
was
so
not,
ready
I'm,
for
I'm
it to
not
be.
that deep into it, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's a really
yeah.
cool. If you can find a write up of the story, it's actually pretty. It's a pretty fascinating thing.
cool.
There's like 2 waves of Radiohead fans. So like the ones that like jumped off after OK Computer, you know, or Amnesia. No, Kid A came out before Amnesia, but the people that didn't like the change and the shift, you know, like I just feel like they've just been doing fucking great music. They're like I've considered them to be the Led Zeppelin of our time, and what I mean by that is that like they can do whatever the fuck they want, and everybody's gonna eat it up. I mean, they're gonna be respected for it, and like it's gonna, you know.
I've heard that about the Beatles. I've heard people say that Radiohead has the Beatles of our time.
Yeah,
Same
same
exact
thing.
same
Yeah,
logic.
yeah.
And I'd be hard pressed to think of another artist that would fit that
I don't
that
think
kind of
anybody else is
classification.
Gonna, yeah, their shows are gonna sell out in a minute or 30 seconds or
Yeah.
whatever it is, like continually. That's just gonna happen. But to be, I mean, I don't know. In Rainbows is amazing too. But there was something about King of Limbs that just really grabbed me.
Thank you again for watching. Thank you guys for sharing all your awesome tidbits about the tunes. Make sure that you guys check out Album Leaf Music. Make sure you check out all the stuff about the Endless. And if you like this channel, give it a like. Please subscribe. More videos soon.